Democrats are screaming a black woman now, or at least that's my interpretation, and I think I will prove it, of the response to the Supreme Court justice change around. So if we get this first article up, you can see here, Stephen Breyer to retire from Supreme Court, giving Biden a chance to pick a liberal judge. Well, apparently Breyer also being a Democrat, so it doesn't change the calculus one jot. But it is a chance for someone to spend their time instead imposing critical race theory. Because, of course, you can look at Stephen, and I just looked up his Wikipedia entry, just see, okay, what's he done with his life? What's his crowning achievements? And there's some stuff in there. I mean, he's worked in the US Army for 7 years. He was a professor in literature at Harvard Law School. He was an assistant special prosecutor in Watergate. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Regardless of your political disagreements with, let's say, the old Dems or whatever, he's clearly a man of stature. He's a man who has got something under his belt to be proud of, and achievements as to why he is where he is, or at least was. Or he's a filthy white man.
But he is also a child of the chalk, don't you know?
Yeah, he's a mayo monkey, as we have been called by BLM. So there's that response as well. And if we go to the next link, of course, we have the Dems' response to him retiring. As you can see, some Democratic congresswoman here saying, President of the United States, it's time for a black woman on the Supreme Court. Capital B for black there, because they don't want someone black skinned, they want someone politically black.
How about it's time for a qualified person?
Nah. If we go to the next link here, we can see a Rumble video of Joe Biden when he was on the primary trail, and he mentions in here that he would, when he has a chance, promote a black woman for being black, not for their achievements, but instead for being black, and a woman. And let's play the clip of him saying this.
Number one, I committed that if I'm elected president, have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue.
Regardless of if they have any qualifications, have served in the army, done multiple years as a law professor and lecturer at Harvard Law or everywhere else, or been a judge even.
It's really amusing to hear Joe Biden say that because you mentioned Thomas Sowell earlier. There are some very amusing clips that you can find that demonstrate how much Joe Biden really cares about the black people in America, of Thomas Sowell speaking with in the courts Joe Biden, saying about how, well, if we want the situation of black people in America to improve, we need to improve the culture within these ghettos and be able to enforce more, encourage better behavior from all of them. And Joe Biden's just going like, oh, you don't think we should just give them handouts? That's racist of you, Mr. Sowell.
But it's not even handouts, because you're presuming there, as Sowell is, that you should improve the community and the neighborhoods. No. Just representation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who cares
I'm sorry.
if the income stays as low or the education low? That's not important. Just the representation.
I forgot the only way to care about black people is just to bring one out like a performing artist or something.
I have seen several people refer to that as a house. No. So this is a statement from Joe Biden, as you can see there, essentially saying that we want the most black woman regardless of her qualifications. And this reminded me very much of a Yes Minister sketch I've seen back in the day. So we'll get this up. This is just a Yes Minister sketch in which they're talking about positive discrimination back in the 60s or whatever the hell was filmed. I can't remember. And the joke is that you have all these white men around the table in the cabinet office all saying, yes, we really ought to hire the best man for the job, regardless of his background. And then it pans out and they're all men going, yes, yes. And it's like, haha, look, men only want to promote men. Except that, well, now we have the exact reverse. I mean, you can picture in your minds a version of this. We have, let's say the intersectional gang, the SJWs, we all know how they look, all sat around a table going, regardless of the qualifications, we must hire the most black woman. And they're all going, yes, 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 I agree.
And the table of black women going, yes, I agree.
Yes. But the funny thing is the Carl mentioned that this is critical race theory in action, and it definitely is. And he's given me his holy Bible of critical race theory, the friggin' textbook, and we're going to go through a section.
I think that's more the satanic verses right there.
Well, it's their Bible, so, I mean, the Satanists also have their Bible. That's
true.
The funny thing is that we had a conversation just before we started. This is essentially debating with a progressive without the talking points. It's just them being honest. And I'm going to read some of it because I think it's hilarious. This is part 3, Progressive Alternatives to Mainstream Civil Rights Ideology.
Story time with Callum.
Okay, thanks for telling us. This is the progressive view. Thanks for that, Mr. Geller. And quote from him, the same criteria that defined the standards during the period of explicit racism continue to be used, as long as they cannot be linked directly to racial factors. So, yes, students of Martin Luther King cared about discrimination based on race, not racial equality. They were completely obsessed with the idea that the things such as being qualified for the job was still important.
Yes.
Regardless of how black and woman you were.
No, those are the only two factors we look into now. How much woman?
We still need you to have done a law degree and maybe be a judge or something instead of just, I'm very black and woman. And he continues, and integrationists organizing their perception of racial justice around images of objectivity, rationality, and neutrality never considered whether this language for distinguishing the worthy from the unworthy might serve to help justify racial domination. So the fact that people may still be qualified and they might be disproportionately white, well, that's not allowed.
Well, this is
they may be qualified for the job, but they ain't a black woman.
This is once again the soft bigotry of low expectations, as it is referred to as, by stating if we handle things objectively, rationally, and neutrally, well, it's all going to be white people, isn't it?
It's a hell of a yikes thing to say.
I know, right?
Written down here again, the students of Martin Luther King cared about the best applicant for the job, regardless of race. Competence is king. You want a competent person to get the best position. The most competent, not the most black womanish.
Yes, the Jordan Peterson competence hierarchy and not dominance hierarchy.
Not interested in racial equality, we're interested in fair treatment. So then he finishes off. If not to its victims, then at least to white beneficiaries who need to believe that their social position results from something more than the brute fact of social power and racial domination. The white people who have their positions in our society, post-civil rights movement, only have their positions because they are white. That's what he said there. Right, then why not just pick another random white person? Because they're qualified for the job. They're the competent one. That's why they got the job, not because of their bloody skin tone. If they were incompetent, let's just pick a random guy who's incompetent at that job. That doesn't happen.
You get Joe Biden if you do that.
You get Joe Biden. So, if we go to the next link, we can find that apparently Joe Biden stands by his enforcement of critical race theory within the Supreme Court. I mean, how high do you want this to go until it's not just on college campuses, bro?
Well, let's be fair. From what we just said, maybe Joe Biden sees some truth in it and goes like, well, I'm completely incompetent and have no idea what I was doing. It must have been because I was white that I'm president.
God knows why else I'm here. Also, where am I? So you can see the Epoch Times listing here. While White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said President Biden remains committed to his campaign promise to appoint the first ever black woman to the Supreme Court in the event of a vacancy. Not the most competent applicant, but instead the most blackest and the most womanish.
What if she was a Republican though, Joe? What then?
So if we go to the next link, we've also got the best headline I've ever read, and that's why I'm probably going to title the section something like, Democrats just say black woman. So you can see here, black woman. Democrats say there's no other choice for Supreme Court of the United States. It's like a toddler. They've just learned to speak and walk, and they've got to that stage where they think everything's mine.
Yeah, they're in the mind stage.
Insufferable. And they're just sat there going, black woman, black woman.
Yes, the Democrats are insufferable children, I agree.
Are you actually a toddler? What is wrong with you? And this is just an article that links a bunch of examples of check marks responding to this. And, they're not wrong to title this. So let's go to the check marks and check them out. And you have some check mark here. This is an exciting time for Democrats. Biden nominating our first black woman to the nation's highest court will be a galvanizing event to drive turnout in the midterms.
And there's the real reason.
It's like the end of the Revolutionary War. Make merry, folks. There is a black woman on the Supreme Court. Oh, she's black and a woman. Oh, black and a woman. Let's go out and vote for Joe Biden.
The old white man. But they are actually just laying it straight out what it is that they're trying to do.
It's a black woman. They have those now.
Republicans just like, we've had these for years, guys. They've existed a while.
A woman and black. Again, we're getting into it's such like we're gonna end up in the crevices, as I mentioned before, of intersectionality. You remember that counselor who was like, I'm the first black male counselor in Islington in the last 3 years.
Okay.
Achievement.
Wow. Achievement pops up on the corner of the screen. Progress.
Oh, God. Let's go to the next check mark and see that statement. It's been a long time to appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court. Has it? Is that what again? Okay, yeah. The competence, not important. Black woman. Again, you can see the capital Bs. That's important as well. Because, of course, you mentioned Republican black women.
No, they're not going to be in the running, are they?
No, they're not politically black. If we go to the next check mark, we can see one more of these. So it's long overdue for a black woman to serve on the Supreme Court, again, with the capitals there. And if we go to the last check mark, we can check them out, saying, never in our nation's history has a black woman served on the Supreme Court. It's long past time we change that. In its first year, President of the United States has shown a commitment to nominating jurists who reflect the diversity of America, not its competence. We need him to extend that commitment to the High Court. Again, the ideology is that the group characteristic is primary, the competence is secondary. Instead of having competence as the thing that is important, I mean, the hell with these people, it's not even secondary, is it? It's probably like 10th down the list.
Well, I mean, it is accurately reflecting America, seeing as they're just completely discarding competence recently. So.
Yeah, but okay, we're literally going to go for the hierarchy of identity, the joke thing that we all had on the college campuses, bro. It's just on there. Yeah, remember the what was it, the diversity stack or the progressive stack, and eventually at the top you've got the holiest priest of progressivism, the black disabled woman of color who's transgender and a Muslim and blah 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 blah, drives bikes or something.
And these people, whenever they do this sort of stuff, I can only think of that image from Family Guy of Peter with his crown and his cape and his shirt that says "King of the Black People."
Yeah. That is how they see themselves. And you mentioned some black women who would be fun, and we'll go to the next link so you can see some opinions for candidates.
Oh, yeah.
Someone here saying Biden's nomination of a black woman for the Supreme Court would be historic. Candace Owens. No, she's not black, remember? She's
sorry.
She may be racially black, but not politically black. Again,
She might be literally black.
that's not important.
She's not metaphorically black.
She's not pseudo-black.
Vanilla Ice is more black than her.
I don't know who that
Metaphorically,
is.
He's a white rapper from the early 90s.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. Another example. This is from El Dono Trumpo. They want a black woman on Supreme Court. We'll give them 2. And then you have Diamond and Silk there. But of course, those are not allowed because those are people who are, well, in disagreement with the Democrats that group characteristics are primary. No, they believe that competence is primary and therefore are not black. At least that's according to the Dems. If we continue, we'll go to the next one. So I thought we'd also just take a quick look at the options Biden even has, because of course he has to pick someone.
It's going to be a bunch of crazy people, isn't it?
Kinda, yeah. How did you get that? So the Vox says in here, and we'll use Vox again, and you'll see why in a minute. Remember our previous episode. The youngest black woman who served as a federal appellant judge when Biden took office, Judge Johnny B. Rowlinson. I'm just going to say Judge from now on because I'm going to butcher all these names.
Johnny Be Good?
Johnny B. Good of the United States Courts of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit is in her late 60s. And they're making the point in here that we don't actually have any good candidates because the thing is you want someone in the 50s to ensure longevity, and the youngest is in the 60s for the black woman. Because again, you've shrunk the pool of candidates because you've decided that arbitrarily none of the whites, Latinos, Asians, Pacific Islanders, natives, the Indians, the Indians, Pakistanis.
Is this not just racist to everyone else?
No one else is allowed. This is a privileged class instead. And so they say that they may go on to state judges or politicians with law backgrounds, because why not? And they give some examples. So Judge... Not going to read that. And her most crowning achievement, Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Mrs. Jackson. As,
That's presumptuous.
And what is their most crowning achievement, as Vox lists them? Well, Vox decided to list their crowning achievement as she was on a commission. The commission retroactively reduced sentences for many crack cocaine offences in 2011, allowing 12,000 inmates to seek reduced sentences and making an estimated 1,800 crack cocaine inmates eligible for immediate release.
Wow.
Crowning achievement.
This is a classic talking point within critical race theory, the idea that the crack cocaine laws mean that more black people getting put means more black people put behind bars. Do you know who it was who advocated for those laws to be put in the first place?
Take a guess.
It was black preachers. Because they were like, we've got way too many crack addicts in our communities. Let's get them off the street.
By this crap.
Yes.
If we go to the next link, we can also, as you mentioned, critical race theory. We'll go back, of course, to Carl's video, which we should go and check out if you haven't. It's a premium video on lotusseers.com called The Worst of Critical Race Theory. And speaking of crack cocaine, so there is also an essay in here that he goes through, and it is really funny and tragic, in which you have an author she's called Dorothy E. Roberts, trying to defend that this state is oppressing crack mothers by insisting that they can't take crack while pregnant, and that's bad. And a quote here saying, such government intrusion is particularly harsh for women of color because they are least able to conform to the white middle-class standard of motherhood.
Not being a crack addict.
Expecting a black woman not to take crack is systemic oppression, according to the critical race theorist.
You're denying my culture.
Only white mothers don't take crack while pregnant, according to the critical race theorist. That is an essay in this textbook. Again, all signed off by all of them. I mean, it boggles the mind how crap the camouflage is on this stuff, and the fact that it goes so far. But back to the list of potential candidates, because of course I wonder if that potential candidate has lifted that example and her profession from the critical race theory textbook that, well, you're persecuting black people by telling them they couldn't take crack cocaine. And they have some other ones. They say Justice Leonarda Kruger doesn't really have anything good to say about her other than she's blue, which is a rigging endorsement.
Oh, wow, you're a Democrat.
Yes. It claps. Democrats don't really have the votes to do anything. So, right, Vox?
I wonder why.
Other than play defense on the High Court.
Well, last time we voted you released all the crack addicts.
But someone like Kruger might be able to convince her conservative colleagues to embrace caution. That's the best thing they have to say about her. So again, not really ringing endorsement. Again, you could have done more radical left-wing things as well. That's the funny part. But you decided to limit your pool of candidates to a very small pool of candidates. That's your fault.
Why no black trans women as candidates?
And then they move on to other examples, so state judges and political candidates. Funny thing is here, they're all underachievers for this position, obviously. As in, they've not achieved what they need to. The funniest one, Judge Holly Thomas. Thomas has literally been a judge for less than a week, right, Vox?
Great. Great choice.
Vox are trying to endorse these people.
Allow me to introduce our newest candidate, Brings Out Baby.
Yes, she's been a judge for a week, says Biden, but she is black and a woman.
Is she black enough?
Oh, boy. And the best part of all of this, the reason I really wanted to cover this story because it's so dumb, is remember we did a segment a couple of days ago, and if we go to the next link, we can see the segment from a couple of days ago, and I'm so happy about this segment because now it's even funnier. So this was the death of affirmative action we did, which is that the court cases for affirmative action are making it to the Supreme Court, and they're going to die. Affirmative action is going to be made unconstitutional in the United States.
Excellent.
Finally. This is going to happen, provided that all the Republicans don't eat acid for breakfast or kill themselves, Hillary Clinton style. And so the thing being that, well, she's replacing a Dem, so it changes the calculus absolutely nothing. However, because they are deciding that this must be a black woman, therefore it's a diversity hire. So the diversity hire they're going to pick for the candidate, whoever it is going to be on the court case in which diversity hires are made unconstitutional, and they're not going to be able to stop it. They can screech,
wonderful.
They can bang the table,
They can be like behind the butt, let me in!
The leftist tactics, scream, hands up, don't shoot, who cares? That has nothing to do with the case, never ever did before. It doesn't matter. Diversity hiring is going to be made unconstitutional in the United States. The diversity hire will have to sit there and cope and seethe throughout the whole thing. There's some poetic justice right there. Oh, God. And if we go to the next link, there's also some worry about it may not even get to that point because, of course, remember what was it, Build Back Better bill?
Yes.
And Joe Manchin, the man who decided, I want to keep my job, so I'm not voting for this crap. And, his vote's now extremely important for the senatorial approval of the diversity hire.
Well, he's a Dem himself, isn't he?
Yeah, officially. But he has been objecting to everything Biden does because he wants to keep his seat. Because there's
maybe he's got his head screwed on.
But the funny thing is, of course, that they need senatorial approval for the diversity hire, and whoever it is, don't care who it is, don't care what their achievements are. If he just picks a black woman because it's a black woman, we should all just call them Justice Diversity Hire. Yeah. Their name isn't important. I mean, it's like Curly's wife from Of Mice and Men.
Just handout.
You reduced yourself by accepting the position to diversity hire. That is your name now. Anyway, Justice Stephen Breyer's reported decision to retire from the Supreme Court sets up a high-stakes Senate confirmation battle to succeed him, and Democrats' bare 50-vote majority in the chamber means they'll have to go back, hat in hand, to Manchin and be like, we're sorry we called you fascist and right-winger, please vote for the diversity hire, otherwise we're screwed. No, I really hope Manchin just, no. Although, to be frank, I also kind of want him to do it so we can see that court case of affirmative action is illegal and the diversity hire on the side being like, oh, God.
It would make for some great content.
Yeah. Although the last thing I will finish on is that Ho's mad, because Ho's are always mad. A specific Ho who is mad is some CNN dullard. And as you can see here, they're very mad at Tommy Lauren. So what do they write? It's all just the quiet part now. Yeah. Quote, Tommy Lauren ridicules idea of black women filling vacant SOCUS seat. We saw how well that worked with Kamala. And they're playing this as if it's like Tommy's saying, black people can't do things. No.
No, she's using an example.
No, she's saying diversity hires can't do things because you hired them on diversity, not competence. That's the conservative criticism of diversity hiring, you brain-dead idiot. And the funny part is, if in case anyone's ever forgotten this, I thought we'd go back to Carl's Facebook page, because I posted some stuff on here back in the day, and I never want them to be forgotten. This one here, this was an advert for Kamala Harris that we, the foreigners, the British, were shown by our British Broadcasting Corporation. It's an image of Kamala Harris with some check marks next to her. The checks are female, tick, black, tick, Asian American, tick. That was the advertisement. From the completely non-partisan source, of course, as well. She was advertised as a diversity candidate.
It's a very thorough system of vetting candidates.
Yes. Is she a woman? Is she black? Well, there we are. That's the end of my investigation.
Can she do things? That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I thought I'd also mention, because I can never get over the fact that this is real. We'll go to the diversity industry within the Democratic Party itself, because more people need to see this. This is a screenshot of the Democratic National Convention schedule. And as you can see, they've got the Hispanic caucus meeting, followed by some actual campaigning stuff. And then the AAPI caucus meeting, Black caucus meeting, Interfaith Council meeting, Ethnic Council meeting, Youth Council meeting, Women's caucus meeting. And that was just one day.
Really the important subjects.
Yeah. And also, if you just check out the Biden-Harris platform, as it was at the time, go to the next link, please. You can see here as well the different plans they have for the different ethnic groups. Joe Biden's agenda for the Catholics, Joe Biden's agenda for the black community, Joe Biden's agenda for the AAIP community, Joe Biden's agenda for the Indian American community.
These all sound very nefarious.
Joe Biden's agenda for the Jews.
Exactly, just put Jew, he's even got one, and it all of a sudden sounds very bad.
I've got a plan for the Jews, says Joe Biden.
And the blacks.
Most popular man in American history. Yeah, you are the diversity party. And then if we go to the last link, I think it also should never be ever forgotten that they also campaigned on being the blue terror. And I single mother owned, please show mercy. This is all I have. Remember all this? This should never be forgotten.
I mean, that's a bit of a downer to end on, sadly, but
no, but frankly,
it's true.
These people are bloody evil. Will do the most evil things, and will even just throw out the most basic tenets of logic.
And in the case of this poor woman, I would imagine they'd be beating her while at the same time telling her they're doing it on her behalf.
Yes. Don't you know Black Lives Matter? Punches a black guy. Do you see that in the lift recently? There was a clip of that.
I didn't see that. I saw the person assault Larry Elder wearing a monkey mask.
Yeah, no, there was two white ladies in a lift with masks on. There was a black guy without a mask. They ended up hitting him and then shouting Black Lives Matter.
Oh, yeah, actually, I did see that. Jesus Christ.
But anyway, that's the state of the Dems and the screeching battle cry that they now have, which is Black Woman Now. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this video, which is the monarchy question. So this is a debate between Carl and Josh about whether the monarchy is good or bad, and my personal opinion is monarchy's good, so Josh lost. But anyway, let's go to the next link in which you can follow us on Getter to see what else is coming out on the website. That is at lotuseaters_com. Thank you and goodbye.